Hey guys, welcome back. This evening I'm making dinner. I'm making a homemade pizza, so I want to bring you along. I told you I would be sharing a super simple, very delicious homemade pizza dough recipe, homemade pizza recipe. So I want to share that with you really quick. I want to just give credit where credit is due. This recipe came from a lady named Valerie that I used to go to church with. She's since passed away. She shared this recipe originally with my husband. We've loved it. We've cherished it ever since then. And so I just want to share this recipe with you in honor of Valerie. And she actually, one of her dreams in life was to one day actually own a pizzeria, like a little pizza shop. And this was the pizza crust recipe that she was planning on using if she ever got to do that. So this is in memory of Miss Valerie. This is Miss Valerie's pizza dough recipe, and so I'm going to show you how to make it. Okay, so let's talk about what we are going to need to make the pizza dough. To make the pizza dough, you just need either some all-purpose flour or some bread flour. You're going to need yeast. I'm using instant yeast rapid rise. You're going to need oil. I'm going to be using olive oil, sugar, and warm water. So flour, sugar, oil, and yeast. That's it. That's all you need to make pizza dough with. So we're going to make the pizza dough, and then we are going to let it rise for 1 hour, and then we will roll it out. And then for the sauce and the toppings, the basics are going to be, I'm going to be using an 8-ounce little jar of tomato sauce. This is like 30 cents usually at the store. I do have my own homemade pizza sauce, but it's in larger cans, so I like to wait on opening that for when I'm going to be making multiple pizzas. So for today, I'm using this tomato sauce. For the sauce, obviously you'll want whatever type of cheese you want to put on top. And then also to go with this sauce, you're going to need some garlic salt or garlic powder and Italian seasoning. And then you're just going to need whatever toppings you want. I'm just going to be doing pepperoni today. You can add all the toppings that you could possibly want. You can add anything on top of this. So that is what all we are working with. Let's get started making the dough. Okay, for this recipe, we are going to be adding 2.5 cups of flour into our bowl. Okay, so we're adding 2.5 cups of flour to our bowl. There's 1 cup. 2 cups. 2.5. All right. So we've added 2.5 cups of flour to our bowl. Next thing that we are going to add is either 1 package of instant rapid rise yeast, or if you don't have packages and you bought it like this, that would be 1. We're going to add 1 tablespoon, okay? So either 1 package or 1 tablespoon of yeast. Then we are going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. And we are going to add 2 tablespoons of oil. First, I'm going to slightly mix this up. You don't have to do that, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of get it stirred in a little bit here. 2 tablespoons of oil. Okay. To this mixture, we are going to be adding in 1 cup of warm water. This water needs to be between 110 and 120 degrees in order to activate our yeast. If it gets over 120, let's say 130 would be the highest you would want to go. If it gets any higher than that, any hotter than that, that's Fahrenheit. Anything over 130 is probably going to kill your yeast instead of activating it. So I shoot for between 110 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So I have that 1 cup of water. We're just going to add this in. And we are going to mix it up. Until it starts to form a soft dough ball, and then I'm just going to get in here with my hands and continue to mix these ingredients together. If you wanted to use a stand-up mixer, you could do this. I suppose I've personally never tried it that way. I've only ever made it this way. So this is how we're going to do it. And as you mix it, it will start out to be really sticky, like what you're seeing right here, but the more you mix, it will start to incorporate more. It's a little sticky, so I'm going to add a little bit of flour, just like a tablespoon of flour at a time. Okay, so just that little bit of flour made this dough to where it's easily workable now. So now I'm just going to start kneading the dough. And if it starts to get sticky, then I will add just a little, like a tablespoon or a teaspoon's worth of flour to it again. Like right now, it's starting to get a little sticky. Okay, so we are going to start to knead our dough, and by kneading the dough, I mean, if it's like this, I fold it kind of in half and I push down, and then I fold it to the other side and push in, and really that's what I'm doing, is working in a circle of folding in half and pushing down, folding and pushing, folding and pushing, and that is all that you really need to do for this type of dough. We're just getting everything incorporated. And it's starting to get just a little sticky again. Add a little bit more flour. And it just depends. Sometimes, I mean, I make the same recipe all the time. Sometimes I don't need to add any flour for my pizza dough. Sometimes I have to keep adding flour. It just depends on what the environment in the kitchen is, what the weather's like, what the flour that you're using is like. Different types of flour, like freshly milled flour, is going to behave a little different, or a lot different than just bagged flour. So I'm going to make sure we are right here where you can see. So we are just getting everything incorporated, and then we are going to let this rest for 1 hour. While we are letting it rest, about 30 minutes in to its resting time, I'm going to oil a pizza pan, lightly oil it, and I'm going to preheat my oven. And I'm going to place the pizza pan in the oven to get hot. Now I'm using a cast iron skillet pizza pan, so it takes it quite a while to heat up. If you were going to be using a thin aluminum pizza pan, you would probably only need to let it heat up for about 10 minutes before you're ready to put the dough on it. So we have an hour rise time. I'm going to turn my oven on to preheat about 30 minutes in, and then once it gets preheated, I want to oil my cast iron, put that in, and let it get really nice and hot. The reason why is because this does make a slightly thicker pizza dough, and you really want to get this pizza dough a nice crisp on the bottom of it so that it doesn't come out too soft So by placing it on a hot pan, the bottom of it, it goes ahead and starts to cook and lightly fry the bottom part of your pizza dough while you are putting your toppings and ingredients and everything on it. So that is what I have found that works the best. Alrighty, so our dough is feeling really nice and soft. Okay. This is much easier too whenever you just get it out onto your countertop and work it. But I'm trying to not make any bigger of a mess than what I need to at the moment, so I am doing it in this bowl. Okay, so that is basically what our dough looks like when it's nice and smooth. It's not sticking to anything. Just going to leave it in that bowl that we mixed it up in. I'm going to cover it, and I'm just going to let it sit. If your kitchen is cold, you could go ahead and set this over by your stove where it can get some extra heat and help it rise. So I'll be back in 1 hour. Okay, so it has been 30 minutes. My dough has been rising for 30 minutes, so I am going to oil up this pan and put it in my preheated oven. I preheated my oven at 425. So we're 30 minutes in. My dough has already started to rise. We're going to let it rise for about 20 more minutes, and then we will roll it out. Okay, so our hour is up. Our dough is risen. This pan has been in the oven for about 20 minutes, getting nice and hot. Like I said before, cast iron takes longer to heat up. If you don't have a cast iron pan, that's fine. Just use a regular pizza pan. That's the way I made this for years to begin with. All right. Okay, so I pulled my pan out. It is super hot, so you do not want to touch your pan. And then our dough has risen up nicely here. I'm going to take my dough and I am going to just scoop it out of the bowl. I'm going to go ahead and put this part that's already a little bit crusty. I'm going to put that part side down onto my pizza pan. And it's kind of sizzling a little bit. And we are just going to gently stretch and roll this out. So we have our dough here. We're going to just sort of make a little bit of indentation here so that we have our crust side of the dough. Kind of push it out like that. Okay, so we have a little lip. And then we are going to add in our sauce. Here I have the jar of sauce. I'm just going to, oh, the lid is, that didn't go as planned, but usually that goes on a lot nicer. We are just going to my garlic salt. Oh, we don't have a lid, so I'm going to sprinkle this. So if you notice in this video and wonder why I'm not putting cheese on the one corner of this, that's because we have one kid that does not like mozzarella cheese on their pizza. They prefer just Parmesan and sauce, and so that is why that corner is left cheeseless. Okay, we're going to pop this in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. We're just going to keep an eye on it on 425.